Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing The Bachelor. So, just as an announcement, again, I believe I mentioned in an earlier episode that I was a little bit behind due to not being 100% health-wise, was kind of feeling under the weather since about Monday. Well, shit hit the fan on Friday night, and I had to go to the hospital the next day, and I do have somewhat of an answer as to what's going on, but still not 100% while kind of investigating it, seeing if things need to be done in terms of surgery or not. So, still not 100%, but I'm just okay to still continue on with somewhat of my normal life. So because of that, Married at First Sight will probably be a little bit behind. It really just depends on when I can do my notes on it. It's either going to happen tonight, which I'm recording this on Sunday, or it's going to be done Monday night. So it really just depends on what's kind of happening. So I'm going to do my best to make sure that you get Married at First Sight in a reasonable time. Love is Blind notes are done, but it really depends on when I can record that. It's either going to happen tonight, Sunday night, or it's going to happen Monday morning, depending on how I feel when I wake up. It really just depends. That might have to, if I don't get Love is Blind done, that means Married at First Sight gets pushed. So I can make sure you get that before the reunion. So that's kind of what's happening. But bear with me through this. I'm trying my best to make sure I get all of this out to you guys. I hate not being able to make sure I get this to you. I haven't had to deal with any type of hospital visit or anything like that since podcasting. Even Next Take is being kind of delayed a little bit due to what's going on. I haven't had to deal with that since the start of the podcast. So fortunately it's not the same situation, but still not great. But I'll definitely keep you guys posted on what's to expect, because if I do have to do surgery sometime in the future, that means that the podcast will be on a hiatus during that time, while I figure that out. So until then, though, I'm still here, and we're gonna just hop straight into the episode. So season 28 of Bachelor, episode 8, we're doing hometowns. So Kelsey A, we are in NOLA, you guys. We're doing it again. And they are, they're riding the bicycle there. Where'd you go, bicycle? And the name of it, guys. The double bike. There we go. That's what I'm gonna call it, a double bike. They're just riding through this beautiful park. It's just beautiful. Then they see this butterfly. It's like this beautiful black butterfly. And she is like, I think that's my mom. It's my mom. Like you said, there times she sees butterflies. She thinks of her mom. And even when she was recording with the camera guys, or the producers, I should say, and she's talking to them, and she looks over and she's like, I see a butterfly. So they go and get some beignets after, which looked amazing. And while they're eating the beignets, they just happen to look over and see this woman doing her wedding photo shoot. And I'm like, oh, come on. Are we really supposed to believe that this woman at this particular point in time just happened to be doing her wedding photos in the park? Okay. All right. I mean, it's a beautiful place to do your wedding photos. Do not get me wrong. I just found it very convenient at the very least. So, um, then we see a marching band coming by, playing When the Saints Go Marching In. Oh, how I want to be in the number when the Saints go marching. I don't know if it's go or come, but anyways. Then they go on Bourbon Street and they're going to go to um, a bar called Molly's. It looks really cool in there. And she kind of just talks about, how it's going to be hard, not, seeing her mom. And um, yeah, she says how it's going to be hard for her to, not have her mom there, not be there to kind of go through all of this, to not have her mom be there for her dad either while he, his daughter may or may not get engaged after this. So it's tough, obviously, but your mom was there. She showed you. You saw butterflies. She was there. But now they're gonna go meet the family. So we arrive at this house, which I'm pretty sure is not actually their house, is an Airbnb. But anyways, we're meeting Matthew, who is her brother, Taylor, who's her sister, and Mark, who is her dad. Her dad is adorable. I can't. Good looking guy. Mark actually has a photo album here and it's full of moms. So we finally get to see her mom. Her mom is gorgeous. I see the similarities between her mom and herself, Kelsey. So just beautiful. But Taylor and Kelsey go aside to talk to each other. Okay, sorry if some of that sounded horrible. Unfortunately, my mic picks up my fan. So it just doesn't go great. But anyways, Kelsey and Taylor are going to decide to go talk. Her sister asks if she, has experienced any arguments with them. Of course not. They're not in a setting really where they're going to have quote unquote arguments, which is why this is not realistic. But they're not going to really have like a serious argument. Really, I don't think he's had a serious argument with any of these women, even Charity for that matter. We're not going to see that. And I mean, it's not to say that it doesn't happen, but usually when it happens, that person gets sent home. So, um, so yeah, no arguments. Um, she said the discomfort is more the fact that there is other women here. So yeah, and the other thing too is her sister is not realistic. Her sister kind of says this as well of like, I don't want you to experience any hurt. I want you to be happy all the time. That is not realistic. Life is not rainbows and butterflies all the time. And I'm not using that in the sense of her mom, but it's not going to be like that. You're going to have hard times in life. This is life. Anyway, Joey and Mark go aside to talk. Mark tells him that this process is very odd for him, obviously. Joey says it's a difficult thing, but Kelsey has handled this so well, not humbled, handled this so well. Mark asks, how do you know if you find the right one? And Joey says, I do try to hold back to protect her heart, but my feelings for her are real and they make sense, he says. Then Mark talks to Kelsey, and Kelsey just tells her dad, seeing him handle so much. She's talking about her father with her dad, with her mom passing. It kind of made her realize that that's the kind of man she wants as her husband. And Mark tells her what he had with mom is what he wants her to have as well because it was so great. And then Kelsey says, I think I love him. Mark does hope that she is engaged when she comes home. And hopefully with Joey, obviously. But I noticed here, like, she does really talk to him about how she feels and everything. But the one thing she doesn't do after she just told her dad is that she doesn't tell him that she's either falling in love with him or is in love with him or whatever the hell is the right thing to do at this point in time. She didn't do that. I found that very interesting, but hold on to that as we go through the rest of the dates. Because this kind of is interesting with how things turn out at the end. For those, again, who didn't watch the show, and are just listening to me. But let's get to it. So we're done with Kelsey's date. Now we're moving on to Rachel. And we are in Rancho Cucamonga, California. That's fun to say. Rachel tells him about the different things that he will need to kind of do with respect to respecting his parents. And one of the things, I knew she said the name of it, but I didn't quite catch it. But one of the things that he have to kind of do is put his forehead to her mom's hand. It's a sign of respect in Filipino culture. So we do kind of find out here, which I'm not sure if we knew before or I just forgot, but she has been engaged before. And it's probably because of this why her family is a little bit more skeptical with this whole process. But we're just going right into meeting the parents. We're not doing anything beforehand. We're just hopping right in. So I'm going to hopefully make sure I'm catching as much of the people that we actually interact with. But there's a shitload of people there, okay? Shit ton. So we got Akeem, which is her dad. Noella, her mom. We also have her sister, which I cannot remember her name now. We also have her little cute nephew, Liam. He's adorable. So Joey does do the greeting with mom, and mom definitely appreciated it. She did. She also says later when she talks to Rachel, she's like, "That was a good touch. Good job, honey." So Joey, so sorry. We also, yeah, I said we also got her sister, the rest of her family, which again I didn't catch her name. We got a full ass pic, y'all. And you know what? I did forget that this was actually Filipino culture. But I forgot about the fact that what was Larry's girl's name again from 90 Day Fiance? Who was also Filipino because he kept saying Filipino Cupid. So, unlike Larry, not only does Joey eat the pig, he also eats the ear of the pig, which is a sign of his affection towards Rachel. Are you kidding? That pig looked damn good. And so did the one that was presented to Larry. Good job for not doing a Larry. Joey, good job. So, okay, so Amanda's her sister's name, so I did write that down eventually. And I did say Liam's cute, so I'm gonna pass on that. Then they do this dance that is like a Filipino tradition. I didn't quite catch what the name of the dance was, but I think it had to do with something with colonizing. I don't know how to think to do with colonizing. No, I definitely heard them say colonizing. Their own country or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it has to do with their culture. And they do the dance and they seem to have a lot of fun doing it. Rachel also talked to her dad and he tells her, whatever happens, just even keel. And he's like, at the end of the day, you got us. We'll be there if for the happiness, we'll be there for the sadness, if that's how it comes. And Rachel tells him, you are the number one man in my life. And he gets so emotional at this. Noella, in the meantime, is talking to Joey. And he tells her, I care for her. I want to protect her. But mom is definitely hesitant, definitely skeptical. She says, I wish you the best. And you're thinking, Sean Robinson or And he said, but obviously I wish my daughter the best more. And so, her concern is obviously the fact that there are 3 other women here. And mom says he seems nice and very nice, actually, and genuine, but there are still 3 other women here, and the verdict is still out. So now we're doing a switcheroo. Noella is now talking to Rachel. Mom says he seems great, but I'm cautious. She also tells her you need to kind of do the same in a sense because she has been hurt so tragically before. It's not just about him picking you. Like, you need to be sure as well about him, right? But then Hakeem is talking to Joey, and he says he never wants to see her get hurt again the way she was before. Joey says, I know you're traditional, and this is not traditional. And, he says it would feel wrong not asking for your blessing. And this was perfect. This is what I feel like everyone should do. Because Hakeem basically says, listen, if it comes to that and you propose to my daughter, she has my number. Call me up like a man. I'm sure I hated that, but call me up like a man. And he listen, he didn't say no. He didn't say yes. But I think in this sense, he's taking the side of like his wife. The verdict is still out. So when you get to that point, call me. That's all. So, her sister basically tells her, despite, her parents kind of saying be cautious through this, is kind of saying just lean into it. At the end of the day, if this doesn't work out, we're here. So that's kind of the route they're taking, or her sister's taking. Rachel tells him, my parents are skeptical because this is out after they're leaving, or he's leaving. And my parents want me to protect my heart. But my sister says, trust yourself. So with that, she tells him she is falling in love with him. Have you ever wanted to guest on a podcast like this one that you're listening to right now? Well, you can. You can definitely do this by visiting a website called Podmatch, where you can sign up and be available for all different types of podcasts that you can guest on. Or you can even search for a podcast and say, I want to guest on your podcast. I think we'd be a good match. So if you want to do this, you can go to our unique link, which is joinpodmatch.com/reality, and you can sign up and do exactly that. And you can find us and you can guest on our podcast. So again, that unique link is www.joinpodmatch.com. That's joinpodmatch.com/reality, REALITEA, and you can be a guest on our podcast. But that's it for Rachel's hometown. Let's move on to Daisy. Okay, let's do this. So we are in Becker, right? Becker, Minnesota. We are at her family's old Christmas tree farm. So I guess they don't have the farm anymore. The trees are so little and cute right now because they're not ready to be torn down or anything. So they're kind of going on this carriage ride and they're kind of taken to this kind of area, I guess, where Christmas has now thrown up on, We've got Santa. We've got Holly. We have a wishing tree for which they could put wishes on. They've got sugar cookies. Later, we're going to see hot cocoa. Y'all, this looks like a Hallmark movie. And you know this is all set up for the show because it's probably like October or something. Um, so we got this kid making an ornament. He was very cute. We got llamas, y'all, that we can feed. And then all of a sudden, her friends just show up. She tells them that it was also a lot of blondes. Their friends. She tells them that she is happy, but also very emotional while saying this because she says no matter what, she's coming out of this with a new confidence that she didn't have before she came in. So, and I think that's amazing. Um, so now we're gonna go see the family. We got, hopefully I caught all these names here. We got Julie, I believe her mom's name is. We got Brandon, who is, I believe, her brother. We got, is it Joseph and Harrison, all her siblings, I believe. Ted and Gloria are her grandparents. Sorry, guys, I think I missed her dad's name on this one. Her dad is great, though. Um, Daisy has this moment while they're talking, and she talks to her brother. I believe it was Harrison. And I think it's Harrison. Did I write it down? I'm not even sure. Let's see. I didn't write it down, but I think it was Harrison. And she's talking to him about college because he's gone to college, and she's asking, how's it going? And all that, which goes to let me to believe this is in October, y'all. But well, at least, yeah, I guess October-ish, September, October. Maybe more September because I know of everyone. And for me, we here in Canada, we start school in September, but I know some places in America start in August, so it could be September. But she has this moment on the list with her brother, kind of talking about school, and he's talking back to her, and she's like crying. She's like, Harrison sounds like Harrison, and she's never heard his voice properly. So she's like, it definitely feels like it's kind of getting better, her hearing. So it was a very sweet moment. So Joey talks to her mom, and the I love yous have not been exchanged, they talk about, and she just, because he says that she just wanted to see how things would go here in this very moment. And mom feels that he definitely loves Daisy, but Daisy has to kind of let her walls down and open up to him. And with that, mom talks to Daisy, and she is shocked because Daisy is usually able to express her emotions a little bit more, but maybe she's able to do that with her family because she's comfortable with them, or with her friends because she's comfortable with them. It's different in relationships. The emotion you have to express is so different than what you do. And honestly, even with, I guess, to a point with the person that you're with where you can be, expressive with them as well, but it takes time. So she's probably able to have that comfortability with her family to do that. So she's definitely feeling something, Daisy says, but she's just worried about having her heart broken. She doesn't know what to do. Mom kind of tells her to express her feelings, take the walls down. Then Daisy talks to her dad, and dad tells her, listen, if you want this to work and you think you are falling in love, then you got to tell him, shoot your shot. And she says, I do think I love him. And this is the first time we've heard her say that, not to Joey yet. And he's like, well, then do it. He's like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? It's not like you're going to lose your hearing again, Dad. Oh, yeah, he's good. He's funny. I like him. I like her dad a lot. Outside, we're now with just Daisy and Joey, and Daisy does tell him, I am falling in love with you. And I have been falling in love with you this whole time. That's that. Their date's now over. All went well. Let's move on to the last date. Maria. Maria. So we're in Niagara Falls, not the Canadian side. We're in the American side. Why? We have a maid of the mist situation over here too. I've been on it. Anyway, they are going to go on the maid of the mist. They, take shots of maple syrup whiskey, which sounds disgusting. They go inside to talk after the maid of the mist, and they kind of both say, well, I think more Joey says, last week was hard for both, but he is, she says that, sorry. She says that last week was hard for both of them, but she believes like he is everything that she wants. And her fears don't scare him, he says. But it was the choice that she almost made to leave is what scared him. She tells him that she will never do that again. It was a lapse in judgment. He wants to feel more confident, but he is still wary nonetheless. Then she tells him, she has never brought anyone home before. Oh boy. So he kind of says, like, okay, on the one hand, it seems really amazing because clearly she's serious enough with me to bring me home. But then on the other hand, how has she never been deep enough with anyone before me to not bring them home? So he's kind of this weird place that he's in. So we're going to be meeting a lot of people here, y'all. We don't really get names. But really and truly, the only person that we really need to focus on is her dad. The Italian mafia. Jesus Christ. Her dad is nothing but a soft teddy bear. He is amazing. Okay, so her dad says that she has brought so much to him, I guess joy or something. I think I missed that, but don't break her heart. Maria talks with her sister, actually not her sister, her best friend, I think. She tells her, I feel love for him, but it's scary because of the other women. Her friend tells her, if you truly love him, show him because that is what's going to get you what you want. Then Joey talks to Nick, which I believe is her father's name, right? So you have feelings for my daughter, he says. Jesus Lord, so good. So good. The best part was this date. Oh, I don't know if you know about the accident, which we do know about the accident. He tells him, I don't know where you stand. And Joey tells him, well, I have not expressed my feelings because, he just hasn't been there, right? But do I feel it? Yes. Could I get there? Yes. And, he says, but the problem is that Maria really does hold back from me. And if I had your blessing, that would be great, which I'm not sure if he did that with everybody else. He must have, and I just don't remember. I think he definitely did with Rachel. He did with Kelsey as well. So he must have with Daisy. So I guess he's just kind of doing it with everybody at this point. But he's like, her dad says, I have not seen her like this before. And basically, he kind of says yes. This man's amazing. But when he talks to Maria, it says, so it seems to me you are falling in love. Are you? And she breaks down. She's like, you can see that and whatever. And he tells her, I can see that you have a guard up. Break it down because you're not going to get what you want if you don't. And he also then tells Maria too, he asked me for my blessing. And she's like, I don't think I'm supposed to know that. He's like, well, I'm telling you. Not that it really makes much of a difference at the end of this, but anyway. Then Maria and Joey watched some home videos of Maria. She was a cute, spicy little girl. A lot of attitude. Oh, she was cute. And then they go out to the front and Joey's about to leave and she's like, I gotta tell him how I feel. And she sits down with him and she tells him, like, you think she's gonna lead up to telling him that she has fallen in love with him. Instead, instead of telling him that, Maria instead says, I appreciate you being here. What? You appreciate him being here, honey? He chose you. He has to be here. I appreciate you being. It's fine to say if you also said, I'm falling in love with you. Instead, she says, I appreciate you being here, honey. You're done. At that moment, I knew he wasn't picking her. She shot herself in the foot by not telling him how she felt. Because I think that might have given him some reassurance. Right? But let's get into the rest of this. So, we're back in LA now. And we're heading into the rose ceremony in the airport hangar because it's time for that one. And just when he is about to start, we hear, Joey, can I talk to you for a second? And it's Maria. They walk away from everybody else and go behind like a plane or something. And she says, I don't want regrets coming into this. How I said goodbye, the way that I did was not great. I told you that I could see myself falling in love, and that is because I am in love. And Maria goes back. Joey still hangs back a little bit, and this part I didn't like. This actually I have less respect now for Rachel, because Rachel's like, what was that about? None of your fucking business. And when Maria kind of dodges and she kind of says a stupid answer, but kind of says like, I don't know. I'll tell you why one day. But Rachel keeps pressing her. Rachel, for some reason, she has such an issue with people pulling him aside. And Maria's kind of been the one who's been pulling him aside. She's done, I think, once before actually, but which would have been, I think, the week before. But whatever needs to be discussed between Joey and someone else is none of your fucking concern. And the fact that you actually had the audacity to actually ask her, what was that about? What the fuck? Okay, but let's get into it. He comes back. And let's start this over again, shall we? So the first one he gives it to is the Daisy. And then he gives it to Kelsey. And we're left between Rachel and Maria. But he gives the rose to Rachel and not Maria. The audible gasp that I had that he didn't give it to Maria. Listen, I understand his fear and everything, but I really do believe he made a mistake here. I feel like he should have given it to Maria. Get in the fantasy suites or the overnights or whatever. Get into that moment. Have deeper conversations with each other. And maybe you could have understood each other more. Instead, I think he's letting his fear lead him into not picking Maria, which isn't enough, in my honest opinion. I'm surprised he picked Rachel because their hometown with her didn't go as smoothly as the others did. And not only that, I don't feel like he has the same connection with Rachel that he does with all of the other women. So I'm surprised he picked her. And honestly, I'm going to tell you this right now. She's not going much further than this. She's probably the next one to go. Because there's no way in hell he's picking her over Daisy or Kelsey. Now, I don't particularly feel like Kelsey is the one for him. I just don't quite feel that either. I feel like their connection is very different. Whereas the connection he has with Daisy and the connection he had with Maria is very genuine. It feels very natural. And that's why I'm surprised that Maria was at home when she was. But the one thing I'm going to say here is that the only person that he said he could see a future with, to that person, was Daisy. So, but yeah, that's what's happened here. So after he doesn't give her the rose, he tells her this was difficult for him. And he says like the doubts in his head would have, you know, wouldn't have been great. And it wouldn't have been great to keep her on. It would have been dishonest, he said. In the car, when she's leaving, she says that she is confused. Same girl, same. She regrets not telling him how she felt sooner. However, she says, if it's not enough for me telling him that I was falling in love with him, then what more could I have given him? Nothing more. There's nothing more I could have given him. I personally feel he's made a mistake sending Maria home. I really do. So next time on, we are going to be in Mexico. The note, y'all. Who wrote the note? We'll find out soon enough who wrote the note. And we also see some Golden Bachelorettes. Susan. I love Susan so much. And we also have Leslie as well. So Leslie's going to be definitely giving the women some of a reality check with all of this, because it is not that easy not being picked at the end of this. So she's going to definitely put that out there. So we'll see how it goes. But that is it for the episode. I do have my polls that I'm going to be doing now that we are down to the 3. I'm going to do 3 different ones. I'm probably going to start it before I even get this episode out. It's probably going to do it right now because it's Sunday. So, I'm going to actually, no, scratch it. I'm going to just do the 2. Not doing 3. I'm just going to do the 2. Who do you think Joey is picking? And who do you think the Bachelorette is going to be? So we are going to put all of the 4 women, just because we don't know how this is going to turn out. So I'm going to put the 4 women. I'm going to put Maria, Daisy, Rachel, Kelsey on it. And you can tell me who you think could end up being the Bachelorette if they are not going to get Joey at the end of this. So that's the ones I'm going to put up. That will be up by the time this episode is out, and it will be on Twitter, so you can go and check that out. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, We're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2@hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.